Good evening. I would like to welcome everyone this evening to the December iteration of the Board of Education, Stanley County Board of Education meeting. We'll start off, Dr. Leffler, if you would do the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Dear Heavenly Father, as we gather here today, we're filled with gratitude for the blessings of this holiday season. We thank you for the opportunity to come together as a school community to work towards the betterment of our students and staff. As Christmas approaches, we ask for guidance and wisdom in all our decisions. May we always act with compassion, understanding, and empathy, keeping the best interests of our students at the forefront of all that we do. Help us to remember the true spirit of Christmas, the spirit of love, kindness, and generosity. May our words and actions reflect the peace and goodwill that this season represents. As we move forward with our meeting, we ask for your presence to be felt among us, guiding our discussions and decisions so that they will reflect your will. We offer this prayer in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. If you'd please stand for this. Now we're going to have the Indy students come up and say the pledge in Spanish.
Yo prometo lealtad a la bandera de los Estados Unidos de América y a la república que representa una nación bajo Dios, indivisible, con libertad y justicia para todos.
Thank you. That was a great job. For the next portion of the meeting, we have to conduct some board business, being the election process. Every December, the Board of Education elects the chairperson and the vice chairperson. At this time, I'm going to open nominations for chairperson of the Stanley County Board of Education. Do I have any nominations?
Dr. Dennis,
Yes.
I would like to nominate Carla Poplin as chair for the board.
I have Carla Poplin as nomination. Any more nominations?
Dr. Dennis, I'd like to nominate Mr. Dustin Lisk for chairman of the Board of Education.
Okay, I have Carla Poplin. I have Dustin Lisk. Are there any other nominations? If there are no further nominations, may I have a motion to close nominations?
I move that we close nominations.
I have a motion by Ms. Gibson. Do I have a second? I have a second by Ms. Vicki Watson. All in favor of closing the nominations, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Say no. Nominations are now closed. What I'd like to do is please write, you have to vote between Carla Poplin or Dustin Lisk. Please write your preference on the sheet in front of you, and an envelope will be passed down for you to put your nominations in. And when the nominations reach the end, if Mark Louder would please count the nominations and give me who's come out with the most votes. Thank you. Out of the two nominees, Carla Poplin has the most votes. Congratulations, Ms. Poplin. Next, the nominations are now open for the chairperson of the Stanley, or the vice chairperson of the Stanley County School Board of Education.
Dr. Dennis, I would like to nominate Robin Whitaker.
I have a nomination for Robin Whitaker. Any other nominations? I have a nomination for Bill Sorensen. Any other nominees? The two nominees I have are Robin Whitaker and Bill Sorensen. If there are no further nominations, do I have a motion to close nominations?
Motion to close nominations.
I have a motion to close nominations by Ms. Gibson. Do I have a second? I have a second by Ms. Watson. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Nominations are now closed. If you would, please, write your vote on a ballot paper, place it in front of your seat. Fold your ballot. We'll be sending down an envelope. Please place your ballot in the envelope. And Mr. Mark Louder will tally the votes. Two nominees for vice chair to Stanley County Board of Education, Robin Whitaker and Bill Sorensen. The nominee with the most votes is Mr. Bill Sorensen. At this time, it's my honor to turn the meeting over to Ms. Carla Poplin.
Oh, sorry. Thank you to the board for having confidence in me and allowing me to serve as board chair for this term. At this time, we have Indy Elementary dual immersion students, and I'm going to turn the meeting over to Dr. Dennis.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Before I turn it over to the part everyone wants to see, which of course are the kids, I just want to say real quick that Ms. Jody Autry in Indy Elementary School will be recognized during the December State Board of Education meeting for receiving the Global Ready School designation and demonstrating outstanding leadership. I have a letter here from Dr. Christy Day, Director of Office of Academic Standards, as she says, accept our personal congratulations on receiving the Global Ready School designation. We value the work you do day after day and commend you and your school for the outstanding achievement. As part of the regularly scheduled December State Board of Education meeting, the State Board of Education will take the opportunity to recognize any elementary school and say thank you for demonstrating outstanding leadership through dedication and improvement in education. This meeting is held Thursday, December 7th at 9 a.m. at the Department of Public Instruction on the top floor in the boardroom. Now I'd like to turn it over to Ms. Autry in Indy Elementary.
Good evening. While they're coming in, I'd like to say that our dual language immersion program at Indy is thriving. We are in our 5th year, so we have students in kindergarten through 4th grade. Most of you already know this. You've been in their classrooms, you've been in our school to see their faces, but they come in kindergarten and are fully immersed in that Spanish language beginning in kindergarten with all of their instruction. The same instruction you'd get in any kindergarten classroom is given in Spanish. So they are fully immersed, and the goal of the program is to be completely biliterate by the end of 5th grade, and we are on track. 100% of our students are on track with that goal. So tonight I'm excited to bring in and let them share some of their favorite festive activities around this time, of course in Spanish. So I'm going to introduce them as they come in.
Miss Autry, before you start, board members, if you want to move around to the side where you can see their faces, y'all are welcome to do that.
On your far left, you have our 2nd grade students in Ms. Zuzanaga's class. Here we have our 4th grade students leading the pack in Mr. Basilio's class. Right here in the middle is our kindergarten with Ms. Garcia and Profe Carito. Next, we have Ms. Vasquez in our 1st grade. And coming in at the tail is our 3rd grade with Ms. Trevino. While they're getting their candy canes, I think they deserve one more round of applause.
Hey, just put them right here. We'll get them in. Yeah, we'll get one relief.
Miss Autry, thank you and your teachers and the parents and grandparents and all the students that put in the hard work to come and perform for us tonight. It was wonderful. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for giving us time. We enjoy it every year, so thank you for giving us this moment.
Yes. And Dr. Dennis, we have some for the posters and stuff too. Yeah, but there should be plenty. He needs some personally. Yeah, yeah. Board members, we're going to take a 10-minute recess to let folks kind of clear up. If you want to congratulate kids, thank kids, tell them what a great job they did.
Is that what you want? Does anybody else not get one? that we'd like to highlight are the students who submitted or placed at the North Carolina School Board Association Elementary School Poster Contest. So the annual conference for the School Board Association was held in Greensboro, where the Board of Education members, superintendents, and other district leaders from across the state were able to view this year's top elementary poster submissions. The theme this year was Tell Us What Makes a Good Friend. Stanley County Schools is proud to announce that Indy Elementary School third grader Carly Bree Honeycutt won second place. Please join us in congratulating Carly and the following honorable mentions. We would also like to honor Miss Olivia Furr from kindergarten in Indy. Piper Burris, first grade from Millingport. Briar Burns, fifth grade from East. Alden Calicut, second grade Millingport. Piper Watkins, second grade Indy. Mackenzie Cobble Pearson, third grade Millingport. And last but not least, Adley Morton, fourth grade from Indy.
And Dr. Dennis, we will come down and shake their hands once you get your pictures made.
Squeeze in just a little bit, everybody. Yay. Perfect. And correct? Yeah. Oh. All right. 1, 2. Let's get one more. Let's get one more.
Hold on one second, the board once again.
High school's on the other side.
That's it.
Come down.
Oh, yeah, okay. No, or they would drop the poster. Okay. Cool. Hey, guys. Y'all are too old for candy canes. There you go. There you go. There you go. Now I'm gonna need a little space right in here if y'all don't mind. Next, we want to recognize the North Carolina School Board Association Middle School Video Contestants. The North Carolina School Board Association Annual Conference held in Greensboro, where the Board of Education members, superintendents, and other district leaders are able to view this year's top middle school video contest submissions. The theme this year was how to be a friend. Below are the following schools. The first school that we want to recognize is North Stanley Middle School 1. All right, next is North Stanley Middle School 2, and this is in no specific order. Next is North Stanley Middle School number 3.
Friendship to me means that you've always got each other's back and that you will always lift each other up. Be here for the good times and the bad times. Friendship is somebody you are compatible with, you're a good fit with, you're a good person with them, you do things for them, they do things for you.
North Stanley Middle School number 4. The final North Stanley Middle School submission, number 5. We have one final middle school submission, and that's from South Stanley Middle School.
I remember my first friendship that we met in the daycare, and our mamas knew each other, so we got to get together outside of school.
It is someone who is there to help you when you need it and for someone to be comfy.
They always support and are always there for you.
And how they're trustworthy and honest.
A real friend is somebody that you can rely on, and they defend your name, and they don't talk about you or harm you.
A fake friend is when somebody be talking about you and be spreading rumors about you and saying things that are not true about you.
Because in football, you have to be friends in order to work as a team. Because during football, I mean lunch, and if we work together, we win as a team, lose as a team.
So Stanley County Schools had one high school submission this year. Much like the middle school, we saw the videos in Greensboro. The theme was different for the high school. The theme this year was supporting each other to success, and we have a submission from South Stanley High School.
South Stanley High School is a small rural school in Stanley County. It's made up of 436 students, 32 teachers, plus 20 staff members. South Stanley is a family.
South Stanley may be a small school, but we have a big support system. Our teachers and staff work hard to see us succeed. They give us new ways of learning and advice for our future. For example, my band teacher who inspired me to keep going, the math teacher who greets me at the end of the hallway, and the teachers who tutor and help the students after school.
Someone's support means to me that I have help when I need it, whether that comes from teammate, coach, teacher, or my friends, but that's just a few. I know that our community is small and not many know us, but behind the scenes we have a support system that's bigger than ever.
South Stanley High School is a small community filled with loving and caring people. Seeing my community support system makes me proud, and I truly believe that
Not everyone will ever understand how such a thing could be so important.
Once they get the photos taken, if the middle school and high school students will come around and shake our hands, we'll stay up here for that. Thank you.
Middle school students, let's get to. This way. Yeah, get together a little closer, middle school. Yeah. There we go. Everybody right here? My turn. One, two, three. Wait, oh, my turn. Thank you.
Now, a few students will just kind of come around. Yeah. Thank you. And Dr. Dennis, before all y'all get going, I just want to say thank you to all the teachers and principals and students for putting in all the hard work on your posters and videos.
So next I'm going to bring up Dr. Sandra Carter, and we're going to recognize our Stanley Stars for December.
Thank you, Madam Chair, board members. Each month, Stanley County Schools is proud to recognize classified and certified employees through the Stanley Stars Award Program. The employees were nominated by their principals, who also shared a brief statement of why they were nominated. This month, we recognize the Stanley Stars at Stanley STEM Early College, West Stanley Middle School, and Stanville Elementary. These employees were surprised by a visit from Dr. Dennis and were given a $25 gift card sponsored by the Nehemiah Project. We'd like to thank the Nehemiah Project for their donation to fund these recognitions. So as I call your name, Stanley Stars, please step forward with your principal. At Stanley STEM Early College, our Stanley Stars are Mika Crump and Amanda Horanek. Principal Dombrowski wrote the following: Mika Crump is an obvious star, especially when you learn that she is our data manager, bookkeeper, and our media computer person, and that is just for the STEM Early College. She is also the assistant cheer coach for Albemarle High School, and she balances everyone's need with a calm and patient demeanor. Students flock to her when things are good, and they want to share with her. And when they are challenged and are looking for guidance and reassurance, they also flock to her. On most days, Mrs. Crump's office is filled with students working on assignments, and she is often heard giving them firm but nurturing advice. Somehow she manages to balance the needs of our staff, students at 2 schools, attend ball games, and do so with a kind word for everyone. Amanda Horanek is a quiet leader within our team. She is a no-nonsense teacher who will give her all and expects her students to give their best to ensure they learn what is needed to be successful both in her class and the next. Spending time in her math class is a refreshingly safe experience where students and teacher are free to make mistakes and where students are empowered to take the lead. When she is not in the hall with students, she can be found in her room planning the next lesson. For the last 2 years, she has taught both STEM and Albemarle students, and this semester she has given up her planning to ensure that Albemarle High School students have Math 3. In addition to the additional course this year, Mrs. Horanek has taken on a new course to provide an accelerated learning opportunity for our early college students. Amanda is a mom first, and regardless of the day, she manages to balance multiple ball schedules, tournaments, and travel teams long after the school day or weekends, and does so without losing a focus on quality lessons. She will say that no matter how tired she is, when she turns the corner onto the hall and sees the first student, her cup is full again, and is evident when you see her in action. Congratulations to our Stanley Stars at Stanley STEM Early College. Our next Stanley Stars are from West Stanley Middle School. Christy Hall and Brittany Medlin. Principal Honeycutt wrote the following. Ms. Hall is our secretary, treasurer, first person our visitors see, jack of all trades, and the list could go on and on and on. The majority of our staff have no idea what all she does for us. She handles it with a positive attitude and is pretty much perfect. At least that's what the auditors tell us. I don't know what I would do without her. She has worked for Stanley County Schools for over 20 years. She started as a teacher assistant, and then I hired her a few years back as our school secretary. Best decision I ever made. She loves our West Stanley Middle School community and is always willing to help in any way that she can. And I am thrilled to have the opportunity to give her this award. She is truly a Stanley Star. Ms. Honeycutt also wrote the following about Brittany Medlin. Ms. Medlin is one of our 6th grade social studies teachers. She is a leader within her grade level at our school. When AVID was first introduced a couple years ago, Brittany jumped on board and became one of our AVID site coordinators. She embraces change and is always willing to help with new strategies in her classroom. She welcomes staff to come in and observe her classroom to learn. She is a mentor for beginning teachers in our school. She is always positive. She supports our school by attending professional development opportunities, and then she comes back to provide professional development to our staff based on what she has learned. She is a phenomenal teacher. Her students adore her, and I am thrilled to have this opportunity to give her this award. She is also a true Stanley Star. Congratulations to our Stanley Stars at West Stanley Middle School. And our third Stanley Star School recognees are from Stanfield Elementary School. And Ms. Merritt could not be here this evening because she is also attending professional development. But our Stanley Stars are Jamie Hamilton and Jessica Dunn. Ms. Merritt wrote the following. Mrs. Hamilton started at Stanfield Elementary as a bus driver in the late 1980s. She drove a bus for Stanfield School for 7 years before moving to a custodial position at the school. She has served as a custodian or lead custodian for 30 years. And if you know Stanfield, you know Miss Jamie. When I first arrived as principal of the school, the first thing I was advised by Mr. Meisenheimer, who was former principal of Stanfield for many years, was to, quote, ask Miss Jamie, she will know. Over the last 2 years, I can confirm this was the most accurate statement. From bus routes, facilities, students, arts and crafts fair, or where something may be from 20 years ago, Miss Jamie is the one to go to. Former students have come back after leaving 5, 10, 15, 30 years ago, and the first thing they ask, does Miss Jamie still work here? She has made such an impact on our children's lives for over 37 years as a bus driver and custodian. Many have heard me say it. She truly is the backbone of Stanfield Elementary School. And our certified Stanley Star is Jessica Dunn. We have some of the hardest working teachers here at Stanfield Elementary, so this decision was hard. Ms. Dunn has stepped up in the last 2 years to assist when Stanfield was going through major transitions. Losing 10 certified staff members at the end of the 21-22 school year was hard. The school as a whole had to come together and support one another, and Ms. Dunn led this effort. She has supported beginning teachers, and this year she took the lead as the role of lead mentor. She helped recruit and interview a great deal of the staff we have this year and volunteered to take on the master teacher role with no additional pay for the extra work. Her heart is not only to teach the students in her room and see them succeed, she wants to see the teachers succeed as well. She has modeled lessons, offered to help plan with teams, led our PBIS committee, all while continuing to teach her class of third graders and see them excel. She is the first to volunteer, whether it be to teach a combo class, move to a completely different grade level, or lead a new committee. Her motto is, I will do whatever I need to help the school. She is a great representation of the staff of Stanfield and our commitment to helping each other succeed. Congratulations to our Stanley Stars at Stanfield Elementary School.
Dr. Dennis, if you'll have them all come up and shake her hand, that would be great. I know some of them already sat back down.
There's two more people I'd like to recognize. They have been recognized formally before, but not to the board. The North Carolina Science Teachers Association District Outstanding Science Teacher Awards are presented to recognize excellence in science teaching in North Carolina, to teachers who exemplify excellence, creative, and innovative teaching of science. The honor is determined by other science educators and serves as recognition of professional excellence and contributions to science teaching and learning. We had two teachers from Stanley County Schools recognized. Miss Amanda Yao from Oakboro Choice STEM and Melissa Terry from Stanley STEM Early College were recognized by North Carolina Science Teachers Association for District 6 Outstanding Elementary and High School Science Teaching Award. You're never too old. This is a very award as far as I go. I was a science teacher. I was never the district outstanding science teacher. I wish I had been. It's a great honor and congratulations. It's very well earned. Yeah, okay.
If you will come around and let us congratulate you too, please.
And I should have said was a teacher. Once a teacher, always a teacher. But that's all I have for tonight, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
at this time, I would like to move to amend the agenda to recognize Mr. Keith Benton, Director of our Maintenance and Facilities, to give us an update. And I would like to move where this will be coming up now, right above our public comments, if we can insert this at this time. So I make a motion.
I have a motion to amend the agenda to insert a update from Mr. Benton. Do I have a second? Second by Ms. Watson. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes to amend the agenda. Mr. Benton, would you like to come on up and give us an update, please? Thank you.
Thank y'all for allowing me to be here tonight, and I appreciate it. I just wanted to give you an update real quick on the Ridgecrest report. I know many of y'all have heard that some things have taken place there over the last few days. So I'll just give you an update on December the 1st. During the inspection, it was found that the analog board and the fire panel was in trouble mode. The new board, along with certified installers, have been contacted, and we are contracting them currently right now to purchase the new board and install the new board, which should take place tomorrow. Permits went through today, and I was hoping they were going to finalize today, but they finally went through today. And so in the morning, our fire control company, they'll be there to install the analog board inside. That's our intentions. During his inspection, a couple things that the fire marshal had found. He had also found that there was not ample room in the classrooms or hallways to allow firefighters or safety personnel to gain needed access in case of an emergency in the building. So Stanley County's facility staff, along with custodial support, worked diligently yesterday and today to clear all hallways and provide a 3-foot walking path from the windows through the classroom and to the hallways. These items were removed from the school and were taken to the metal scrap yard, recycling center, and Stanley County Schools will receive payment for these items. We feel that this was the fastest way to get this done, to get it done to where we can get the fire marshal to come back out, do his inspection, and we can move forward with the public using the facility. So at this time, and just so you know as well, in March of 2023, there was a fire inspection done on the place with our fire control company, and the fire alarm was in operation at that time. So sometime in the midst of now and then, the analog system had been taken out. So there's an update, and if you got any questions?
Just a clarification.
Yes, sir.
By you say taken out, you meant that there was a natural
Power surge of some sort. Most of the time, that's what takes them out, is a power surge on the building that eats the motherboard and the analog system inside of it. That's a telltale sign.
Mr. Benton?
Yes, sir.
I've heard that, rumor that there's dumpsters out at Ridgecrest. Can you explain what's being thrown away?
Yes, sir. So I can explain. So for the dumpsters being there, those are metal recycling dumpsters. And we fill them up. The company that we've contracted, they come and pick the dumpsters up. That is all the dumpsters are for. We are getting paid for the products that are being put in the dumpsters. So that's in general what they're for. There is some wood products on some tops of tables that have been busted up over time. Well, they'll take that apart and then they'll sell the metal parts off of it.
So there's not anything of real value then
No,
that's
sir.
being tossed away? It's
No,
not like a free-for-all going through the school, just tossing, because when we walked it earlier this year, there were, quite a few desks and various resources in there.
Correct. Well, the desks that were in there, we have another storage facility that has ample amount of desks for us to supply if we need them. The desks that were in there, most of them were already broken. And as far as filing cabinets that were in the facility, did not have locking mechanisms to work it. The drawers were hung. They didn't work. The drawers were broke. Several of the filing cabinets, the bottom had already fallen out of it. So at the time, this is the best way to get rid of the issue, and fast.
And I was going to say it was prior to you starting with us, but the last time we walked that facility, it was explained to the majority of us, I believe, that were there that day that teachers had been asked if there was wanted materials out of there. They had ample opportunity to come and get those items if they wanted them. Is that still
Yes,
correct?
ma'am. That's a correct statement. We've actually delivered several filing cabinets out of the facility to schools for teachers that they had tagged. Once we get them there, they find out that they don't have locking mechanisms in them. We don't have keys for them. You can't purchase keys for them. And so we end up moving them back just to get them out of their way.
And last question, Madam Chair. If I wrote it down correctly, permits have passed and you think the fire panel or analog board will be installed tomorrow. When is it possible that the wrestling team can use that facility again?
Yes, sir. I spoke with the fire marshal this afternoon on the way here, and he will not be able to inspect it tomorrow if we get the analog board installed. He is dealing with a major fire issue now, inspection on his end, so hoping the next day, following day, we'll be able to get him inspected. Once we have the facility inspected by him, then we can go back to using the gym area of the school. The major issue with using the back building was because there was not clear pathways to exit the building in case of emergency. There was not pathways through the rooms for the fire department to come in and fight the fire. We have created those pathways. We've opened them up for him, and we feel confident that there shouldn't be any holdback in dressing and leaving everybody in the back building like it should be. Yes, sir.
I just want to take this opportunity to thank you and your staff for hopping on this as soon as you did and getting this situated. I really appreciate that. You've done a wonderful job once you were made aware. So thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank y'all. Good.
Thank you. Next up on our agenda tonight, we have public comment, and we have 2 people signed up for public comment. I'll go ahead and read. In accordance with policy 2310, public participation at board meetings each month
part of, or at least one regularly scheduled board meeting will be set aside for citizens to address the board through public comment. Each speaker will receive 3 minutes to present comments. However, the public comment session will not exceed 15 minutes. The total except by the majority vote of the board. Please see the policy for additional information. Board Docs provides a 3-minute timer, and I will let you know when your 3 minutes are up. Board members will not respond to individuals who address the board except for clarification of points to request clarification of something stated by the speaker. Our first speaker tonight is Miss Patty Blaney.
So I am Patty Blaney. I do live on the western end of the county, and I am here tonight. I'm glad that we talked about Ridgecrest because that's what I'm here to talk to you about. Because my son is one of the wrestlers on the West Stanley High School wrestling team who got locked out of their wrestling practice facility last week. And it was interesting. I actually was rolling my eyes a little bit back there a few minutes ago because we're acting like, yoo-hoo, we addressed this right away. But you know what? We should never have let that facility get to that point to begin with. I mean, honestly, this is the failing of the school system in letting that facility deteriorate to the level that it was. Most of you may or may not know this, but the West Stanley Middle School and West Stanley High School wrestling teams went in there on a Saturday and cleaned the cafeteria out so they could use that facility. Our students shouldn't have had to clean that facility. Our maintenance folks should have been keeping that facility clean and in working order so that those kids didn't get kicked out of their practice facility in the middle of their wrestling season. It's truly unacceptable for that to have ever happened. And, you know, the fact is that from our understanding, from what the fire marshal told our coach, was that the maintenance department had been told of these issues and told these needed to be fixed or he was going to have to shut the facility down, and that they had time to fix it before they got padlocked out of the facility in the middle of their season. You know, fortunately, he did allow them to go back in there on Monday to get their mats so that they could move to another location. But those wrestlers are actually now having to go to the middle school every day, and they're wasting practice time moving the furniture out of the cafeteria at the middle school, putting down the mats, taping up the mats before they can practice, and then cleaning the mats, on-taping the mats, rolling the mats back up, and having to put all that furniture back in at the end of their practice. It's cutting into their practice time, and quite frankly, we should never have let a county taxpayer asset like Ridgecrest get into the condition that it has. It is unacceptable. And the fact that we're making a cheerleading effort now about the fact that we're now going in and taking care of all these issues, it's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous that we're sitting there cheering the fact that we let it get to the point that we have to do this in a rush thing so we can get these wrestling students back in there practicing. And that's not even addressing the fact that it's also affected other community organizations that use those facilities, like the West Stanley Youth Basketball Association uses those as practice facilities. And honestly, the fact that we've let that building sit, at least somebody was using it, and now nobody can use it for at least a week. And that is completely unacceptable. It's a failing of the maintenance department to not have been keeping up with that facility all along. And my understanding as well is the Ridgecrest Volunteer Fire Department has actually been mowing the grass out there because the school system hasn't even been bothering to mow the grass. So again, there's a failing in the maintenance department. So we shouldn't be cheering the fact that, oh, we're getting this all fixed now. Well, we should never have let it get to that point to begin with. It's unacceptable, and now it's affecting our kids. It's affecting the entire West Stanley High School and middle school wrestling teams, and that's unacceptable.
Thank you. Mr. Matthew Shutt, did I say that correctly?
Yes, it's political. We're not here to get into all that. He is a freshman at West Stanley High School. He's on the wrestling team, and he got locked out of his practice facility. His uniform locked in the practice facility. Our mats locked in the practice facility because we failed. I say we because I drive by Ridgecrest 2 times a day. I didn't have an interest in it. My kids were done. I was disappointed. I was sad. I was aggravated, but life goes on, right? Now it's personal. My son got locked out of his practice facility because we failed. I just overheard a conversation of a gentleman sitting up here that said, "We just found out about all this? How? How did you people not know what was going on at the other end of the county and the serious nature of what was going on?" Our kids were in a facility that the fire department said nobody should be in. I'm hearing that our fire department could not have accessed our kids practicing at Ridgecrest. Is that okay with anybody? It's not okay with me. I appreciate somebody doing something. Sort of the gentleman that just told us what's going on, I'm not going to point fingers at him. Did he have anything to do with it? I don't know, but I appreciate somebody doing something. But I think everybody up there knew that ugly property was over there. And I guess as long as we ignored it, it wouldn't bother us. Well, we can't ignore it anymore because the fire department, the fire marshal, put the lock on the door and said, "Guess what, Stanley County Board of Education, you're not going to ignore it now." So I appreciate you doing something. But let's make it right. Let's figure out who failed, how they failed, when they failed. Let's hold them accountable, and let's fix it for our kids in our community. That's all I ask. Do what we expect of you. We try to do what our kids expect of us. We expect you to do what we expect of you. And I hope you do. Thank you.
Thank you. Board members, up next on our agenda is the consent agenda. It contains the minutes from the regular November 7th Board of Education meeting and the class size waiver forms. You all have had time to access these minutes and documents via board docs prior to the meeting tonight. If there are any corrections or questions, I will entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I have a motion. I have a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, this has passed. Thank you. Next up, we have committee reports. And first is facilities, so I guess I'll go ahead and do that report. Did I miss something? Okay. All right, so I will go ahead and do facilities tonight. We met on November the 8th with the commissioners with their education work group to discuss where we are with our longer term planning. Many items were discussed, including funding bonds, future facility configurations and options for educational opportunity. Commissioners felt that the board needed a more definite plan. And we are, I have been requested to have another meeting with them in December for more discussion on these topics. That's all I have at this time. And next up is. Mhm.
You'll know those costs sometime this week, that we've reached out to a consultant. I'm not sure exactly. They were asking for some different things. So I just contacted a few different ones to ask about different things. So I should have those numbers either tomorrow or the next day.
There were several commissioners. I think Bill Lawhon's the one that was asking about it primarily. But there was a one high school option brought up, obviously the two high school option, and then they wanted more information on repurposing of buildings, more studies on just all kinds of different options, and wanted us to hire a professional consultant to get all of those options, not somebody in-house. I can't answer that. I'm not sure. I don't know. I can't answer that one for you. I just know that they gave us a list of requests and asked that Dr. Dennis and Mr. Benton look for a consultant to get those quotes and answers back to us. Dustin, you agree with that? You were in there. I mean,
Yeah, I think it's more kicking the can down the road. Mr. Shutt, I agree with you. I spoke with Patty. I agree with her. I think the greater issue is, why is a high school wrestling team having to go to Ridgecrest to practice in a cafeteria? I've been a proponent of a new high school on the western end. 2 of the commissioners went with us to Montgomery County to view that. They have an auxiliary gym with roll-down hydraulic mats. I've got my friend Patrick Dennis in touch with Dr. Dennis to do an AAU wrestling team over there. That literally just happened right before that. I found out December the 1st. Yeah, I agree. I think there's somewhere along the lines there is a breakdown of communication. But at the end of the day, if we're gonna, my view on Ridgecrest in any building, that's North Albemarle, that's the BLT on West Main, and I think there's one more, but any building, if we're gonna fund it as a taxpayer, then we need to keep it up, or we need to bulldoze it, or we need to sell it, or we need to repurpose it. So one of the battles, kind of back to Madam Chair, in talking with our commissioners, is how do we get this funding? No one wants to do the plan that we have. That's fine. We did the demographic study that we were asked for a year ago. Now we're being asked to do a facility study, and I guess we got to walk around to figure out which 2x4 needs to be replaced. At some point, in my opinion, it's common sense. It doesn't take a professional consultant that we have to pay as a taxpayer to tell us these things. But that's what we've been asked. We are not a taxing authority. We get $3.5 million a year, and that sounds like a lot of money. So you have 23 buildings about 60 years old. That's putting Band-Aids on a gashing wound. So I agree. I'm a little bit upset about it. I'm in Stanfield. Locust has 19 basketball teams. We have one gym, and that's the school gym. You've got West Stanley Youth Basketball Organization, I think some travel teams using that. So I'm going to shut up here for a second, but I do agree with you, and I think this county and our commissioner board and this board somehow is going to have to figure out how we're going to fund. We don't have to raise taxes to do it. Montgomery County has the 61.5-cent tax rate. We're at 61. We just put $10 million in the bank account as a county. Our revenue is up 40% since this last conversation. Our tax base is up 40% and double that of Montgomery County. They did it off the profits of the county. We can do it too. Quit kicking the can down the road. It causes problems for Mr. Benton, who's brand new, came from Union County. It causes problems for this board. It's way past time for this commissioner board and this county to start funding these buildings. By general statute, that is the responsibility. They don't need the school board to fix buildings. Thank you.
As far as to why it just now came up, we weren't really given an answer on that. It was just, they had asked us in the beginning.
A facility study is another 6 months, just to kind of give you an idea. Your taxpayer is going to pay $20,000 to, maybe they come up with something new. I've been wrong. My wife tells me I'm wrong every now and then, but maybe we're going to pay $20,000 to uncover something new. I seriously doubt it because the same company did the demographic study. And they're not going to say build a building out here where there's 10 kids. They're going to say build a building where there's thousands of kids. The state funds us. It's a state-run school system. 90% of the money's coming from the state. We want to pay teachers more. That's up to the state. It's also up to our county to supplement it. But I'm getting off track here, and I'm kind of getting on my little rant.
Well, you're up next.
Bringing out my Mr. Anthony Grace, who I love, but I'll shut up after that. But it's way past time for this county to come up with our facility money. You shouldn't have to deal with that problem. My friends shouldn't have to deal with that problem. We as a county, West Stanley High School should have an auxiliary gym where they can practice.
I don't know if that answered your question specifically, Dr. Leffler, but you have anything else?
We're just kind of spinning our wheels. I mean, we want to get something done, but there's always, we've got to get another study. We did one 15 years ago, and they didn't do anything about it, so they spent $30,000 for nothing.
If you look at DPI, the cost to build the high school since 2010 has gone from $133 a square foot to $340 a square foot. And surprise, surprise, maybe we got to pay a consultant to tell us that somehow the price is going to be higher 10 more years from now. But that's where it's at, and it's going to be expensive, and it's time to start.
Yeah, you're good. Go ahead, Bill.
I can't disagree with a thing Mr. Liska said. As a matter of fact, we've had these conversations. One point that I think is worth noting and worth putting in the newspaper and worth putting on billboards is combined per student funding for Stanley County is ranked 102nd in the entire state out of 115 school systems. It's unacceptable. In my opinion, this is my opinion based on working in schools for the last 30 plus years, we've been abandoned by the state, we've been abandoned by the local county commission. The state had spent about $40,000 of our money to do a study to find out how to fix Leandro because the state's been out of compliance with the state constitution since 1997. So they spent 40 grand in this place called West Ed. Has nothing to do with politics. Says you need to spend $8 billion on schools. That's facilities only, $8 billion. Got nothing to do with putting bodies in these schools. So what is this? What is our assembly? I call it a circus because it's nothing but clowns up there. In my opinion, what have they decided to do? They trickle out about $200 million a year in competitive grants that we will never see. So if Stanley County, if the state did what they're supposed to do according to the state constitution, cut that $8 billion, we'd see about $150 million. All of a sudden, we can do something. Okay? Our county commission's been on this board on our back. I don't care if they don't want to hear it or not. They've been on our back for 10 years. Come up with a plan. Come up with a plan. They're not funding the regular day-to-day routine stuff now. We're funding at 85th or 84, 85 in the state when we're capable of funding in the 50s. These children, this is what breaks my heart, and this is the only reason I'm still involved in politics. These kids that were up here, they deserve better. They don't deserve to be abandoned by the state of North Carolina, and they have been. They don't deserve to be abandoned by the county commission, and they have been. And I don't mind taking all the heat in the world, but when Dustin gets on his warpath, he's just telling the truth, man. He's just telling the truth. We can't fix what's broke until somebody starts funding us. And if you're interested in improving those numbers, you've got the spreadsheet. Someone's got the spreadsheet, shows me where we rank. 102nd in the state? Do we not love our kids in Stanley County? Do we not love our kids in North Carolina? That's my point. This has got nothing to do with me or my kids. My kids are adults, and you can tell I'm old, dude. I got grandkids that attend private schools because that's what mom and dad want to do. But these children that sat out here and sang for us, these kids that came out and got recognized, we are failing them, and it makes me mad. I'm about to use some sailor talk, so I'm going to shut off my mic.
Thank you.
Maybe I was channeling my Mr. Sorensen.
No, you were doing fine.
Well, Mr. List, you're up with finance now, so you can channel
No
longer.
report for the month. Okay. Y'all just heard the report.
Instructional.
No report at this time, except that we have testing, very critical testing coming up.
Marketing and community engagement.
No report.
Ms. Whitaker, do you have policy?
No report. We've been too busy doing finance and facilities.
And safety and security. Dr. Leffler? Okay, no report. Next on our agenda is superintendent comment. Dr. Dennis.
Thank you very much. Just a few comments. This week, December 4th through 10th, is Computer Science Week. Part of the reason, well, I'm not saying part of the reason, but it just happened to match really good. This month is Learning Foreign Language Month. I can't speak today. And as we saw earlier, we had our DLI students, which I'm very proud of. I have a DLI student as well. and just wonderful program, and it's a wonderful recognition that's for any elementary when we go to the state board on Thursday. As far as days, the second was Special Education Day, and with that, the 7th is Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day. Also, days to remember: December 18th through January 3rd, there will be no school for students. As like Mr. Sorensen said, we have the crucial testing through the state, which goes to our accountability model that's coming up very soon, but that will only affect the upper grades, the secondary kids in the high schools. This past month, I had a couple of activities that I enjoyed attending. One was the North Carolina School Board Association Conference. It's a really good conference. You learn a lot about, things going on with the state. There's always some really good legal things to go to, and as far as other hot topics or stuff that's coming down the legislation, it's great to be able to see other board members, some of my colleagues as well. This past week, I was at the North Carolina School Superintendents Association Winter Conference. Again, another great conference. It's kind of conference season. It lightens up a lot after this, but we got to learn a lot of good things there. And the last thing I want to mention is this past week, I guess, in the week prior, the board and I did some school visits and saw a lot of really good things. I'd been having some conversations with some of our principals about rigor and things to do in the classroom, and it was great to see the student engagement, and it was great to see some of the great things that were happening in our classrooms. It's one of those things to where, we can preach about it all the time and say, oh yeah, great things are happening in our schools. And of course we get to showcase it from time to time at these meetings. But, to be able to go in our schools and really see what engagement looks like and to see these kids being successful. And success isn't always just a test score. It can be measured in a lot of different ways for a lot of different kids. It's just great to see. We have such a great school system, and I'm proud to have my kids in the school system as well. The last thing I want to mention is there's a regular monthly meeting schedule for the Stanley County Board of Education. January 2nd, we will soon name the location for that meeting. The next regular call meeting is February 6th. There is a meeting on March the 5th. Currently, there is a meeting on April 2nd, which falls during spring break, so that could change. There's a meeting on May 7th, June the 4th. I'm just going to write slow if you guys are writing this down. July 2nd, August 6th. September 3rd will also be a location be determined since the county and us, we share this space. That's a day because of Labor Day that they moved their meeting, so we usually move ours as well, just to another location and not another day. And October 1st, November 5th, and December 3rd. And that's all I have. Thank you.
And board members, just for your reference, that is attached in board docs. I think Ms. Hope had put that in there for us. Next up is board member comments, and I'm going to start down on the end with Ms. Glenda Gibson.
Thank you. For me, and I think for many others, it was quite a festive spirit in here tonight. I always look forward to the DLI students and their performance for us. For Miss Jody Autry, that's quite an honor. Congratulations to her, and for the Global Ready School designation of Indy School. To all of our teachers that were recognized and students, Stanley Stars, congratulations to them. I really want to point out that, I guess, being a former teacher, it really touches me to see that students take part in preparing and creating the videos that the middle school students did, the high school students did that for the North Carolina School Board Association contest, and then the poster winner, Carly from Indy, and then we had several honorable mentions. Many years ago, I just don't ever remember Stanley County schools taking part in the posters or the video, the contest, and now they do. And I'm just appreciative to everyone that worked on that, from their teachers that were helping them, the principals that were here of those schools tonight. That really means a lot, and I truly do congratulate them. Thank you, Mr. Benton, for giving that update to the board, providing information for us, valuable information. And the other thing is, I know that you said you had custodians, you had all of your staff. I mean, everyone was out there and just working hard. And that does not go unnoticed, and I'm very appreciative of that. And thank you to our speakers for bringing things also to the board, and for your input and what you had to say. Thank you for speaking to the board. And I enjoyed our visits as well to our schools over the last couple weeks. We always enjoy our visits, and hopefully there'll be quite a few more in the near future. Congratulations, Ms. Poplin and Mr. Sorensen, on your election here. And just hope everyone has a very happy holiday and Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Ms. Watson?
Well, I don't know how to follow that. I think we as a board appreciate everything that our teachers, our principals, our custodians, our cafeterias, everyone. We appreciate everything that you do for these students. And these students up here and all over our county love where they are, and they appreciate the schools they're in. But it would be nice, I think, if our commissioners would come and visit some of our schools to see what's going on in our schools, because there's wonderful things going on. It's hard. It's hard for us to do what we're supposed to do for these students if we don't have help. And we need that help from the commissioners to give us the money we need. So, you know, it is what it is. We got to have it. I appreciate everything that these students have done. It's just awesome. It's just awesome. This county is awesome with children, and I love every one of them. And I hope everyone has a Merry, Merry Christmas.
Dr. Leffler?
It was great seeing the whole place full. I mean, you couldn't even get in here. The fire marshal should have been here, kicking people out. I mean, it's wonderful when you see the community celebrating their students. And that's what we all need to do, because they do a great job. And like Dr. Dennis was talking, the last several weeks we have made visits to the schools. And everybody in the public ought to go to a school and go into a classroom and just see what's happening. In the classroom, you've got a teacher like teaching science. So you've got the 5th grade teacher. You've got some people in there that are reading at a 2nd grade level, and then you've got some that are reading at a 9th grade level. So that teacher has to go around to each of those 25 to 30 students and have their own personal plan. It's really amazing what they do. I mean, they do an excellent job. They have patience. They treat the one that's the 2nd grade reader the same as the 9th grade reader, and they work at them with them at their level. But it's a job, and I don't see how they do it. And we as board members and parents in the community, we need to thank them, because it really is a job. And then it was great to have the dual language people from Indy. They did an excellent job. My grandkids are in a program like that. I can't even speak English, so I certainly can't speak Spanish. But they did an excellent job, and it's just amazing how they're just like sponges picking that up, and I think it's good. So we're finishing up the year since we started our schools early. So they're going to be over exams, and they're going to be ready to start anew in January. So we'll be ready for them to go, and we're looking forward to a better semester in January. Every semester that we go to, we want it to be better. and have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Mr. Sorensen?
Got the venting part out earlier, so we'll kind of change gears here. I appreciate those youngins that come out here, and we did make every year I try to visit every school, every single school in the system, to see a couple things, to see how the staff and the kids are getting along, and to see if education's taking place. The student engagement is what I look for every time. And we go to the elementary school, and I'm ruined for the rest of the day. The little kids I'm terrible with little kids. I could never deal with them. They just get me all wound up inside. And then we go to the middle school, and then I see those, the middle school hijinks and stuff. The stuff I remember being like that. And now we go to the high schools, and when we get a chance to go to the high schools, I can relate to those kids because I taught for 28 years. But we just got to do better for those youngins. Every single child in Stanley County schools deserves a chance at a quality education. And I was a little bit more forewarned than I reckon the rest of the board was. I know you just don't mess with wrestling mamas. They're dangerous. I'm not going to mess with you there. But tell a story of my wife real quick. I was coaching South Stanley at one of our arch rivals in Davidson County. Won't say which school, South Davidson. But it was pretty ugly. All right, it was very ugly. And there was this one lady in a white T-shirt, a Bulls T-shirt, up on the top row, yelling and screaming at the refs when they would blow a call. The refs stopped the match. Comes over to me and he says, I don't know who that is, but you need to get that lady to calm down. And I told him, I don't know who it is either, but I'll go talk to her. It was my wife, of course, so I had to ask her to leave. But I coached wrestling for 10 years, 7 as a head. I totally get where y'all are coming from. And I'm so old and ugly, not much bothers me. When it gets to me is when we start messing with wrestling programs or football programs. Stuff. We're working on it, all I can promise you. That is not me saying anything that you said was wrong or right. We're not supposed to talk to that, but sometimes you're just right. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Shouldn't have got to this point. That comes back to this funding thing, though. When we have a budget from the county and the state, unfortunately, that limits us to barely maintaining what we got going on, we don't have bodies to go over there and do things. We don't. Our maintenance budget's a shoestring budget, or instructional budget's a shoestring budget. We're trying to keep things together, and this is something most people don't realize. We have schools where classes are compressed. In other words, we don't have enough teachers, so a class that should be 20 turns into 30 or 40. Okay. Sometimes we don't have enough funding and enough to attract good teachers to have real teachers in there. Okay. So we have all these burdens, and at the end of the day, I ask myself, what is our primary goal? To teach the kids. So I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying there's so much more that goes into that. And if I ruffled some feathers on the commission, I don't care. If I ruffled some feathers in Raleigh, I hope so. I hope so. Our state senator's been up there for 20 years this year. And I'll tell you what he's done for schools. He's helped them defund, and defund. It's time to take care of the kids. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it is. So I'm not trying not to get all negative. I had to tell that wrestling story because I relate to you guys more than you know. So thank you. And I'm going to wish everybody in Stanley County, schools or not, a Merry Christmas. And I pray that God wakes up some folks in positions of power, that we have a responsibility to these kids, and we're just not making it. Thank you.
Mr. Lisk?
I pretty much said what I needed to say earlier. I don't want to drag this on, but I talked to a parent, and this goes back to using our resources better. It's not just the 7 commissioners on this board, these 7 board members. This goes back multiple boards, many years, the kicking the can down the road. But a parent at West Stanley High School, junior level, her daughter has to take 1 class at West Stanley High School, 2 classes at the community college, and another class at South Piedmont Community College. And I just think that that's ridiculous. I took 3 AP classes when Albemarle was a city school. You can go to Greystone and take advanced placement classes. So if you're on an academic route, we should not have to send our kid to 3 different schools. Maybe I'm in the minority on that. I think that affects the high school experience. Same way with a career or a technical path for a student. I just don't believe we're doing a lot of great things. And I think that the teachers, the staff, the administration, employees are doing everything that they can within the resources provided. The county has to do better. We have to do better, and we have to vote the right people in there to make that happen. Quit worrying about elections. I work a 9 to 5. I'm not focused on my next election. I doubt I would even run again. So if we get commissioners and school board members that focus on making the right decision, it'll all work itself out. Thank you.
Ms. Whitaker?
I don't know that I can add anything that hasn't already been said. I know we've talked about the commissioners a lot tonight, and I know one thing, when Dustin and I were campaigning, we spent a lot of time talking to commissioners and about what we needed to do to try to foster a relationship with them. And I feel like this board has worked really hard for this past year to do that. We've held meetings after meetings with them. This board was elected to do a job, and they were elected to do a job too. Their job is to fund the decisions that we come up with and the plans that we feel like our school system needs. So we'll see if anything different happens in this next year. So I know it's disheartening. It's disheartening to me. I went off this board in 2010. I came back on this board in 2022, and it was like they had sat still during that period of time. There was not a whole lot of difference that you could see in this system. And we can't let that happen. One of you that made comments tonight said our students deserve better. They do. They deserve so much better. And we should want that for them. So we're going to work really hard to move in that direction. The fun stuff tonight, I love to see the kids. I enjoyed them last year. I enjoyed them this year. They do such a good job when they come and perform. We are so very fortunate to have the staff that we have in Stanley County that are leading and guiding our students, and I'm very appreciative of them, and I'm thankful anytime we can have them to come before us. I'd just like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. It seems like it's been a long time since we started this school year, so hopefully everyone will have a good Christmas break. We'll have some rest, some relaxation. Also, that we need to remember what this season is about and the true meaning of Christmas. And hopefully we'll come back in the new year and we'll all be rejuvenated. So, Merry Christmas to all of you.
Thank you. I just want to just reiterate everything that my board members have said tonight. I absolutely love having all the kids in here. It really gets you in the Christmas spirit here in the Mossing, and that was great and wonderful, and all the recognitions tonight. I also want to take a moment and thank Make It Personal for doing a fundraiser and wiping out North Stanley High School's, I believe it was, lunch debt. That is huge for our system, and when we're sitting here talking about funding for a local business to kind of take something like that on as a charity, that doesn't happen very often. Every so often we'll have an individual kind of donate some funds, but not somebody kind of go out and just run an entire campaign to try to wipe out some of that debt. So I just really appreciate everything that they did, and if you can support that business, that would be wonderful. And I just want to make one comment about our classroom visits. One of the things that really stuck with me when we were going around is the number of staff that we have that have stepped up in some of these schools where we can't fill positions and are teaching an additional course during their planning period.
You had one tonight.
Yeah, one of the ladies tonight, but there were several when we were going around. That's not required of them to do. It's definitely not expected of them to do. But for them to do that so that our students have a certified teacher in a classroom for a core class is huge. It vastly affects the test scores in that room. So we have some really dedicated staff and teachers in this county, and I just want them to know that we truly appreciate that. And I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Our next scheduled board meeting will be on January the 2nd at 6:15. And the place is to be determined at this time. Next on the agenda is closed session. The board will entertain a motion to go into closed session pursuant to personnel matters, NC General Statute 143-318.11A6, student matters, NC General Statute 143-318.11A1, and attorney-client matters, NC General Statute 143-318.11A3. May I have a motion to enter into closed session?
Make a motion to go into closed session.
Have a motion. May I have a second? Second by Ms. Watson. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we are now in closed session.
I'm going to call us back into open session. Next up is personnel and administration, and I will now turn it over to Dr. Carter.
Yes, Madam Chair, if I may call your attention, board members, to the personnel agenda. There's 2 sections. Section 1 is for your review, and Section 2 is for your action, and I'm requesting your consideration for approval.
Make a motion to approve Section 2 as presented.
I have a motion. Can I have a second? Second by Ms. Whitaker and Ms. Watson. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? That has passed. Thank you.
Thank you.
And if there's no other business, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.